Healing Guides, Part 15. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I just remembered something really cool, kind of about myself, but something that you can resonate with, which is why I want to share it. As I was walking on my usual path, when I'm walking home, or when I'm just strolling the neighborhood, or wherever I am, I remembered something when I looked up. First, I just sensed this feeling that something's watching me. So I looked up and I see this bird, you know, basically standing on top of those cords that usually are very close, you know, I wouldn't say to the sky, but they're really high up. They're really close to like the tallest tree that you can imagine, above like some buildings. Birds usually just stand on that, right? And they just watch from below. I mean, from above. I can't speak very well today. So, okay, I was like, oh, there's a bird there. That's why I felt something was watching me. And then, because it was actually looking towards me. Okay, and then above the bird, I saw the blue sky. Extremely beautiful. When I say beautiful, I mean beautiful blue. Do most of you even look up sometimes and look at the sky? Because that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. So basically, I just remembered a childhood habit I had, especially since I used to go outside a lot as a kid, to deal with the fact that God put me in an evil, dysfunctional family. And I say God because if He didn't purposely do that, I normally would have been born to normal people. Not that obviously normal and good people are not born to evil humans. Just this was specifically something that God, actually told me. He didn't talk to me, right? He just gave me the wisdom that He actually did intentionally. He wanted me to be put in that type of household because there are missions that He would give me later in life where that experience would actually benefit those missions. Okay, anyways. So God put me in that evil family. So I had that childhood habit of going outside and just looking at the sky. And at that moment, I did have a conscious knowledge of God and who He was, you know, though I was very young and still learning religion. My religion is Islam, for those, who don't know. And I'm sorry if the first thing you just thought is, oh my God, that's a horrible religion. All the stuff that would make you think that way, I actually agree with you, are obviously lies or corruption put in the religion. So you don't really have to worry about that. That stuff is not true. But you obviously hear about that stuff because that stuff is put into the religion and forced upon Muslims by the evil human beings or the hypocrites who pretend to actually be religious, leaders. So of course that's why you'd see it, because they're actually trying to say it's actually correct or from God or from the religion. You get me? They're trying to force it into the religion. So of course, just because we would look at it and be like, well, that's not true, that's false, doesn't mean there aren't people out there who are actually not saying, no, this is actually part of Islam, blah, blah, blah. And this is really one of the things that I hope you guys learn from me in this healing guides, where I try to, instill some sort of basic level of spiritual wisdom that God has taught me. I just can't go above and beyond and really tell you everything in specificness, because I have to keep it to like an encryption level, because God did not give me permission yet, nor do I even feel like it's a really healthy time to really tell you the stuff that He has taught me over the years about, my religion, as well as just all the other religions that are kind of out there, and as well as just about God overall. The time is not yet. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that such a thing has to even exist, right? If something is truthful, if something is good, we should obviously be able to say it at any time. I know, but this life is too difficult. There's too much evil in it, and there's too many spiritual things going on that you can't always just go out there and tell people the truth. We have to wait for the time that God Himself would instill in whoever He wants to go out there and share that truth. We have to wait for God to give us that permission. So as respect to Him, and as, love and mercy to everyone else, I wait, because I don't have the permission to really just say it bluntly right now. If God ever tells me to tell everyone, then I will. But He has to set the pace and the time because it's not time yet. So, anyways, so I'm sorry, I kind of put a pause to what I was recording, so I kind of don't remember what I was, on to saying. But as I was, originally talking about, I would go outside a lot and look at the sky, and it just became a natural habit. I didn't know that that was something that God was actually instilling in me to help me or to heal me in that process. To heal me in that process because I was a little kid and He put me in this extremely evil and harmful family. And the constant trauma that would obviously cause a human being, especially a child, I obviously had to endure that. So I always just unconsciously, I didn't even know I was doing it. I was always unconsciously choosing to go outside because I'm unconsciously getting away from evil. You get me? But I didn't even know. I thought I just liked playing outside. No, I usually like to just be on my own, to be honest, and just maybe sit somewhere and read. I'm that type of introvert, who would, as a child, have that sort of extremely mature personality. I'd want to read. I'd want to talk about, big subjects and, question the teacher and not necessarily question like the ones who like, interrogate teachers. No, I was quiet. I mean like question as in to gain more knowledge. But other than that, I was usually listening when the teacher's talking and absorbing that knowledge. So, obviously I'm someone that as a kid would love to go outside because I love nature. Uh, always had that sort of innocence where I just want to play, you know what I mean? Even as I got older, I found other ways to have fun, which is kind of having creative outlets. So I didn't really lose that sort of kid part of me, even at this age. So going outside, of course, was something I personally like to do because, I'm someone that would always want to go outside and just find beautiful things to surround myself with. But that would only be, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain. Technically, for certain times or situations. If I get older, like now, and I'm an adult, then I would actually seek to stay indoors because I need that constant reserve for my energy, you know? And who knows, maybe I wouldn't be like that if I wasn't sensitive to others' energy, if I wasn't aware of others' energy. And having that constant awareness of others' energy means I can see their demonic spirits, I can see their intentions, you know? And I'm not trying to say that to make anyone sort of feel awkward. I just feel like it's okay to share the gift that God gave me that I have as that highly spiritual being, which then obviously has to force me to want to be away from human beings and not be around them because I'm highly conscious and highly aware of what they're holding inside their hearts that you, another human, can never see, right? All you see is their body and what they're doing in terms of their conduct, but I can see their energy, I can see their heart, I can see if they're evil or not, I can see what intentions they have, their thoughts and feelings. I'm highly sensitive to that because God is giving me that wisdom, and because of that, there's no way I can just be around people. I have to, take a lot of time away from them to protect my mind from all the evil that they're carrying, all that dark energy they're carrying affecting me. As well as even if they're not evil, just their own energy affecting me, because obviously they're just, always carrying that outward. So anyways, any healthy child obviously would want to get away from a crazy evil family and usually want to go outside if they had a chance. But I'm just saying that because I used to do that, and because just naturally other times I was just outside, I just developed that habit of looking at the sky. But I didn't know that when I was actually doing that, it had nothing to do with how beautiful the sky was. It was just me trying to connect with God. I didn't know I loved Him that much. This love, sometimes some people are just born with it. You don't even know. And you might right, as you go on this physical, you know, this physical lifetime where your body is, put into your soul. I'm sorry, your soul is put into your body. Of course, a lot of human beings in this physical world will forget deep down who they are and what they feel. But I never forgot. I just wasn't conscious to it. But I started to slowly recognize why I was looking at the beautiful blue sky and the extremely clear white clouds, because it was just a desire to connect with the Lord. So there was always this sort of desire I had of extreme love for God. And I actually believe that's literally it. That's how I got through being around crazy people. And so the message today in this podcast or this episode is, I'm asking you to do the same. I'm asking you to look up a lot. I'm asking you to actually directly look at the sky. Don't do it with your don't do it with your eyes. I don't know how to explain. You know how you can just naturally as a human being become present, like make your body, your eyes become present, and then look up. Okay, you're gonna absorb the energy or sort of what's happening around you, the noise, the buildings very close to the sky, all that stuff. It's gonna distract you. You're not gonna see what I want you to see. You're just gonna see an image of like what the sky looks like if it was a photo. No, like go inward. Sort of go into your mind, but don't think. Don't like listen to the thoughts in your head. And then just look up. That is like you tuning into how you feel now as you look at the sky. Okay, and now you're going to actually see how you feel about the sky. You're not going to be present of the environment. You get me? And now you're really connected to your higher self that knows a little bit about God, His innate mercy, His innate greatness, that He's always there. So again, I really want you to start developing that habit of trying to feel the presence of God Almighty in your conscience. You're not going to feel it in the environment. That's creepy. God is not in the environment. He's not everywhere. As Islam, we believe that He is above the heavens, which is above the earth. So you have the earth, you have whatever that's in between, and then you have the heavens, right? Only God knows what's between the heavens and the earth. And then above the heavens, only God knows if there's something in, after that, or right after that, if there's His throne. So then we believe above the heavens that there is the throne of God, where He would be at. So don't visualize Him sitting or standing or anything like that, because only He would have knowledge of that. So God is above, okay? He's not here. But you can always feel, right, that He's always with you, in the sense of, right, God is obviously always aware and watching and seeing everything, as well as His love is always with us. His mercy is always with us. He doesn't love everybody. God doesn't love evil people. It's not like Christianity where we believe He loves everybody. I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but that's not logical. God would not love a rapist, right? As He's watching that filthy human rape someone, He's not going to say, I love that man. That's disgusting. No, God loves the good people, the good doers, those who do good things. He's a very logical and rational creator. He doesn't love everything because there's evil, therefore there's evil humans. He's just merciful to them, which is really what you want anyway. You just want that mercy. You just want Him to treat you with mercy, and He does. That's why you're not all being destroyed right away if you're an evil human, right? God doesn't just bring down something, right? The human race just gets wiped out, except the good ones. That doesn't happen, obviously. He gives you time, right? And this can always be misconstrued by the evil devil, obviously. Oh, He's given them time so they can do more evil? Shut up. That's not the reason. He just created human beings to live, for a certain number of years. What they choose to do within that time, they have free will. sadly, just because the evil one will continue to do evil doesn't mean God is dumb for letting them to keep living, you know? Because they just naturally were given free will from the beginning, right? There's already that risk. They're going to choose evil. Okay. A lot of them will choose evil. So obviously, God doesn't love them, and he doesn't love everyone. He only loves the righteous, those who do good things. And again, evil humans can do good things, just average bad people. I don't mean he loves you then. He's proud of you that moment you're doing something good, of course. But he doesn't love you. Only God knows who he loves. So we're not going to say God loves everybody, because that's not true. But two, we're not going to actually say specifically who he actually does love, because we don't know that either. You get me? But just so you know who he would actually love. He loves a really righteous person in their heart and mind and soul, because he's a pure God, and he will love people who have pure hearts. It's that simple. See how logical that is? A lot of people who become Muslims, they say it was such a simple religion. It was just simple. It was just logical. There was no twisting of the brain to make me, sort of see that as the correct religion. And then, of course, Islam takes a turn when sexism and perversion enter it. That's not from Allah or God. Allah would be the name that he gives himself in the scripture that we follow, the Quran. So, anyways, we don't follow a different God than Christians. We're actually following the same God who sent down the original Gospels and Torah. Those were the original names. But today, Torah is called the Bible. So anyways, because of that, there's a lot of similarities between Christianity and Islam, except very key, important, significant areas that truly twist them and us in north and south. You get me? Opposite poles. We don't ever meet. We're parallel lines. We never meet. Because they turned God into three characters: a ghost, a human being, which was Jesus. He was just a prophet. And then God himself. And instead of just saying the Father, you should just go to him because he's the Lord. And fine, okay, you believe he had a son. Okay, but you should still say he's the God, right? The actual Father, right? But no, they make Jesus into the God. But you just said there was a Father. You just said there was a God, and this was just a son. How did he become the God and the son? Or if you're saying if he's God's son, he's also a God. Okay, I see what you're doing there, but that's not what you mean. That's not what you mean. You guys mean he's technically the Father. And you're like, no, that's not what we mean. There is a Father. We're just saying Jesus is a God. Okay. Then go to the Father. Leave Jesus alone. But what do their preachers say? You have to go to the God through Jesus. So the devil corrupted the Christianity religion by using Jesus as a way to turn them away from the actual God. He put Jesus as sort of like a block in their road, in their path to have a relationship with who they consider to be the actual God, which is the Father, right? So it's very disturbing. And obviously whoever follows that religion are logical people in many ways, but in the religious area, boom, they throw logic out. They believe something that doesn't make sense. Okay, Muslims are the same. They're going to be scientists, they're going to be mathematicians, they're going to be, great at ABC, they're going to believe they should build a road a certain way, just like you, the non-Muslim. They're going to use logic. Okay, but when it comes to their religion, they're going to use logic in the areas that the religion is not corrupted. And they'll brag about it. They'll put it in your face. Look, our religion is right. Look how perfect, blah, 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 blah. A little bit of arrogance is there instead of humbleness. I have seen it. There's a lot of arrogance when they're talking about Islam. As if we're enemies or something. We're the same human race. We're all one group. You get me? Only evil humans are technically, an outcast to us. But as a species, we're all together in this journey. And, you're only above someone if you're a moral person and they're evil. You're just better than them only because of your character. Right? You're superior only because they're filthy and you're not. You get me? Just character makes you better and superior. But not superior as in like dominant in the sense of controlling them, or, like superior as in like a different sort of higher species. Just superior as in just better. You have a great character, they don't, etc. Very logical. Because character is everything, obviously. You wouldn't say evil and good are equal. Okay, so good human and evil human are not equal. The good one is superior. But we have to determine what superior is, right? Because there's evil interpretations to everything. So again, I'm not trying to make you feel like I'm mocking Christianity. I don't mock anything. I just like to show you the falsehood that demons put into everything. So Muslims, right, will also use that logic, but only in the areas the religion is not corrupted. Like who God really is, he's one, you know. They'll tell you the Bible is corrupted. That's why there's bad stuff in it. They tell you they respect the book in the original sense that it used to be in the past. They'll say a lot of nice things, you know. And that's what would pull in a lot of people. But then they flip the logic. They throw the logic out. In the areas the devil corrupted this religion, which is he inserted sexism, giving men dominance over women, especially through marriage, because that's the most important relationship between the two of them. And then, you know, all areas where males and females would ever have to interact, like a brother, a father, an uncle. They just turned the Muslim female into some sort of submissive doll that men can just give her permission to do something. If they don't, then she's a sinner. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And then they just inserted perversion even into the marriage. And they inserted perversion in war, where they say it's okay to basically rape non-Muslim females, which is something, right, that evil humans, which means humans under the control of Satan, which is something that evil humans used to do during war, right? Something bad, something evil. War is not obviously normal. The only humans who are technically in that situation, whether they're evil or good, technically in that situation are, you know, doing something normal is those defending themselves, right? They have to defend their life. Okay, but the human being seeking the war is doing what? Actually 3 crimes. Maybe 4, let's say 4, but 3 main ones. Murder, rape, and theft, right? One of the biggest crimes in any country today. And that's actually what's so unique about the average human being today in any society. They just don't use logic anymore. They don't use logic when it comes to how society functions, how governments make rules or laws, how humans treat each other. They only want to use logic when it comes to science and math and how to build a road. It really is depressing. So part of that, I'll give an example. I'm sorry about the background noise. They don't want to use logic when it comes to the fact that in their countries, a president would put anyone who killed someone, raped someone, or stole from anyone, or just put a damage to the land, right? He would do what? Say, put him in prison. You know, some of them he would even say the death penalty. Okay. Or the president could be female, etc. But, he gives himself permission to go to another person's land, another person's country, and do those 3, 4 huge crimes. You see what I'm saying? So humans, as long as something is them doing it, as long as they're evil-hearted and technically in that situation they feel like it benefits them, then they'll justify it. Okay, so obviously we have evil human beings in Islam. Duh. We have hypocrites. We have people who have always, since the beginning of mankind, have hated God and his wisdom and his religion that he sends down, because those humans have chosen Satan. You know, a lot of them, you know, have even seen a little bit of what demons look like, because sometimes demons will show themselves to humans they possess, right? Someone like me is not going to see what a demon looks like. That's not their natural sort of power God gave them. God doesn't give them permission to appear and, you know, make people uncomfortable, because obviously we can't see them. If they just appear, aren't you going to freak out? Okay, that's not comfortable. That's not healthy. And I think that's where the ghost thing came from. That's literally what ghost means, right? Someone at some point saw a demon. I'm not joking. So anyways, the truly, truly dangerous, immoral, criminal, etc. humans, whether they're actually known as criminals to the world or not, right? It could be in high places, controlling everything with wealth and be a president, and no one actually, obviously then he's calling them a criminal, right? Okay. But I mean, they're criminals in the eyes of God Almighty. Okay. They are the ones that a demon would actually show themselves to. And actually, like, literally, I know it sounds crazy. It doesn't sound crazy, sorry. I know it sounds sort of right? Sort of strange, but they would make a pact with them, you know? They would, sorry, that's not strange either. Goodness, when I speak too fast, I get too stressed out, and sometimes words come out of my mouth that are not my own. Because I also get harassed by demonic spirits as I'm trying to share anything about God or anything that's good, so I have to relax. Because I'm walking around as I'm recording this right now, which is not good. My heartbeat goes faster, and I might just get stressed out. Okay, so demonic spirits, these highly evil human beings, you know, like the rapists, the murderers, they actually come to them, or any human who they really possess sometimes was extremely, because obviously they can possess a human and he can change and etc. The thing leaves, right? If they do deliverance or exorcism. I'm talking about those who want to be evil continuously, and you get me, they get to the higher levels. Okay, they're going to expose themselves to those humans and make a pact with them, make an agreement with them, you know? Okay, at some point, Satan promised some of those crazy males starting wars, he promised them something. Hey, I'll give you half of this earth, you know? I'll give you all this wealth. I'll give you control over all these places. You do what well, you know what I mean? He literally just talks to them like another evil human would come to another bad, crazy one, and they'd work together like how villains work together in a movie, right? And then later on they kill each other. Obviously they have to go against each other because they're evil. They can't do the act of friendship that belongs to good people. Okay, so evil humans. See, don't think of them as Muslim who are evil or non-Muslim who are evil, like Christian or Hindu. No, just think of just simply evil humans. Okay? Don't ever see them as conscious or sort of like smart, like they know what they're doing, like demons are. No, they're actually puppets. They're stupid. They're puppets to demonic spirits. The demon just takes control over them. Literally uses them like a clothing. You know, the way you wear clothes, that's how they possess these human beings. They're puppets. Don't ever be like, oh, the president doing all that stuff. He has a plan. He doesn't know anything. He gets knocked out many times by that demonic possession. He doesn't even know what happens to his body. The one with the plan is the demonic spirits. Their leader is Satan, and he is the one actually who knows what he's doing. Before we were even, I'm talking about the children of Adam and Eve, right? Because Adam and Eve were there, and they got to sort of see this evil thing. I'm talking about Satan. But us, right, sort of like the offspring of those two, this devil was already planning against us before we were even born. Okay, and then in a more specific sense, before you and I physically were even born, he was already plotting. You get me? By personally sending specific demons to monitor every human being, as well as just God overall, gave demons the power to always have one demonic spirit be with every human being that God created. And we would have an angel that's with us. That's what people believe in. An angel in your right ear talking to you, telling you to do good things, and a demon talking to you from the left side, you know, your left ear. And people be like, right, I get bad thoughts and good thoughts. Okay, obviously, you're also a living being. You get good thoughts from yourself too. You could also accept evil, and at some point the bad thoughts can come from you too, but 99.9% of the time, bad thoughts are actually coming from demonic spirits. It's not really coming from you. But anyways, Muslims have that problem where they don't want to tell the truth and admit that lies and falsehood and corruption, just as it entered the original Islam, which now is Christianity, due to the corruption in the original book of God, which was the Torah. The book got corrupted. Okay, what does that do? It creates a new religion. It creates a new way. It creates new rules. And obviously created a new name, right? I mean, Christianity wasn't even the original name that this religion had. Okay, so those prior people who actually were following Jesus were Muslims. Okay, they were like me, because this is a prophet of the God that I worship every day. So, because the book was corrupted, after Jesus was no longer there, he didn't get crucified or killed. God did save him. It's just that he put a man there in his place to confuse those evil human beings who were demonically possessed. Because a regular human cannot try to kill a supernatural person like a prophet. Those men are powerful. You can't try to kill them. They'll kill you. They're strong and powerful, and humans would be scared of them. So it was demonic spirits that actually persecuted prophets through humans they were just possessing, okay? But see, demons don't want you to know that. They want you to think humans are the problem, and they actually persecute prophets and blah, blah, blah. And they also want you to think that humans have the power to persecute people who God chose, which obviously you would agree have more power than a regular person, right? They have more protection. Angels are protecting them. How can you persecute and kill them? That's dumb, right? God obviously protects them and loves them more, okay? Again, not unjustly, right? Doesn't love them more in an unjust way to you. No, they're obviously the best of his creation. He obviously will love them more because they're pure, okay? So what I'm saying is, it would never affect how God treats you, you get me? So what I'm saying is, humans, right? This sort of flesh creation, this human race, cannot persecute someone that's supernatural, that God chose. They can't touch these people. These are very powerful people, okay? Okay, so God is the one that gave Satan the permission and the power to actually target prophets, you know? And God actually said in every prophet, he created an evil that targets them. Specific evil that is specific to that prophet. Specific, which would mean certain types of lies or things that are created about them. Demons always accused prophets of being perverted, hypersexual, sexist. Do you see the pattern? They always accuse them of the sort of immorality when it comes to the perversion. You get me? Just twist someone's sexuality, make them impure. What are they? Perverted, right? That is the best quality of a prophet or anyone that's really close to God, who's like chosen by him to be a leader. They're highly pure in their sexuality, which is what makes them better than you. You get me? If you're like, well, what makes them better than me? I'm truthful too. I'm honest. They're really pure, okay? They're not like these males that you see in society who, you know, sort of seem hypersexual and kind of crazy. No, these men are pure. These men wouldn't even look at a woman, okay? So they're just really pure. They don't get those sort of thoughts that many humans today deal with that are just sexual, as well as other thoughts that are just perverted, not sexual. You get me? Just evil and stuff. Okay, so since that's their greatest asset, they're just so innocent, right? That's what demons will choose to lie about versus some other quality. They'll just say they were perverted. And because they're really loving people, really moral people, they would be extremely just to women and children, and they would treat men and women equally. They wouldn't ever teach men the weird stuff you see today, right? Where the weak male would always teach other males to always try to dominate females so that they can act like them. Somehow that makes them superior. You get me? They feel like they have to get dominance by putting another group down versus just simply being who they are, that God already made them. Because they're evil. That's what evil means. A desire to abuse others. Okay? I'm sorry about that noise. So, basically, I really write a lot about this in sort of my poetry books, and kind of like to instill a little bit of basic psychology into everything I write, so that since people will always see all the books that I wrote or all the articles I wrote, whichever book they read, right, they can at least get this sort of basic wisdom. So basically, this religion, Christianity, was Islam at the beginning, but because the original book of God that we Muslims would all agree with right now, we would follow if it was here, the fact that that book got corrupted because Jesus was no longer there, right? They abused the prophet, persecuted the prophet. Okay, what does that tell you if humans used to persecute prophets? Exactly. Why are you forgetting that those types of human beings are here today? Obviously, they're here today too. Those types of lunatics are here again. So anyone who's truly moral today, whoever would come out to be a leader, there are going to be those crazy lunatics who try to persecute them. Do you get me? And what are they going to say? They're going to say, hey, the stuff you came with, you created it. It's man-made. Get out of our face. The stuff we have is from God, okay? We're the good ones. Exactly, because they're not going to say they're evil, they're perverted, they're sexist, they're bad, they're demonically possessed. But then who's going to listen to them? Okay, evil humans have to act like good people. They have to act like, despite whatever they say, that it's from God. They have to blame morality and God on the evil they do, because they just don't know how to get away with it, right? Humans will feel more free to persecute them. But if they say, hey, you can't touch me, God said it, you don't know what to do, right? You're thinking, what? God said it? So you failed when you believed in the fact that God, who would be more just than you, because look at it, what did I just say? You would persecute them, right? What does that mean that you would persecute them? That's you being righteous, right? Because they're spreading evil and you're against that. And you want to get them to stop. Okay, so that act of righteousness you had, which would turn you against them, how could a God who's bigger and stronger and more powerful and better than you, how could he not also have that quality at a higher level? Where he would also, right, never think like them. See, you failed. You started to feel fear that God could actually be like that. That's when the demons defeated you in your mind. They started to scare you into thinking God could actually be sexist and perverted and tell women to be submissive to men as if, wait a minute, well, I don't even want to talk, I don't even want to finish that sentence because the amount of anger I feel, I don't even want to express it on a podcast. Okay, so any situation where the same species is trying to take dominance over each other, any situation where something God created is trying to act like it somehow has the power to control you like an object, you already know that's evil. Because that whole concept cannot be obviously immoral, correct? That's not a normal thing, to dominate and control and abuse others. Goodness. Only God is powerful. He can order us around and tell us what to do, but it's not going to be something that hurts us, correct? And he's superior, so he's not immoral for that reason. A human is equal to you. He can't control you or tell you what to do. So since human beings are equal, you can't say one gender is superior than the other. You can't say one race is somehow better than the other, because we're the human race. Only so the supernatural humans that God created, God would consider them at a higher level than you. But not in the sense of them dominating, you get me? Because that whole act of dominating means what? Evil. So no one would even have that quality. Even if God did create a species or a group that was superior, they're still not going to dominate you. Because the act of dominating is evil. It just means abuse. It just means I want to hurt you. God have mercy. Who taught us this way of thinking? Who taught us that controlling others and hurting others, repressing their natural feelings, like how women are hurt every day by these false things in religion, telling them to shut up and be submissive and blah, blah, blah. You'll go to hell if you say this to that man. Blah, blah, blah. What does that make a human feel? Okay, those emotions of hurt and pain and sadness and loneliness. Why would a God make us feel that way? Even a fake God wouldn't make you feel that way. That's how you know it's stupid. Excuse my language. Stupid is not really a bad word. It kind of means dumb. So anyways, I hope you're enjoying what I'm saying, because this is the spiritual wisdom that I seek to instill in you slowly. Right now, it's not going to really make sense. You're going to be like, I get what you're saying, but I don't really know. I'm even scared on some level. I feel like you're twisting me away from my religion. Oops, I'm scared. Don't be scared, okay? That's why I'm not being specific. I said sexism and perversion is put in Islam, and I also said also in marriage. But did I tell you which parts? No, right? Because it's not time yet. Do you get me? It's not time. When God sets the time, you will know, and you'll finally be free. And that time is very near. I promise you that. So anyways, I just want to instill this wisdom as slowly as I can, as a seed in anyone that could ever possibly hear me. And I hope a lot of people hear it, because this is not obviously a specific group like Muslims. They're actually going to be the ones to freak out and probably not want to hear what I'm saying, because they're really loving people. They want to learn, they want to study, but they have that fear instilled in them that they'll go to hell if they listen to anyone who thinks differently. You get me? That's a lot of the reasons why sort of like the nice or okay or decent Muslims who don't obviously like these things in their religion, right? This perversion, this sexism, this hateful way that non-Muslims are portrayed, etc. These, right, good people, but they're not obviously out there saying I'm against this stuff, so you think that they don't exist, right? They're just quiet because I told you they don't know what to do. Just like a lot of Christians are wonderful people and they don't like this stuff too, like the Trinity, but they don't know what to do either. You get me? As human beings, if you're a good person and you're raised up in that society where you're being told weird stuff is from your Lord, and you're a good person, you're not going to be the one to be like, I stand against this. You're not going to stand in the middle of the road and call everybody, oh, people, come here. You're not going to be like that. right? When you're humble, you don't like to try to, take center stage, right? You would only want to speak when you know something. And since you don't know, you know it's wrong, yes. But do you actually know what God said or what to do in that situation? No, correct? And there you go. You're a healthy person. The evil one is the one who's crazy, right? He'll take something and speak when he doesn't have the knowledge, the information, the right to do so. That's what it means to be evil. You're arrogant. Okay, so since good people are not arrogant, they're not going to talk when God didn't give them permission to talk, right? They're just going to express themselves if you personally come up to them. Or if you actually start to physically affect their own life with those crazy, sexist, immoral, perverted things you put into the religion. You get me? But they're just going to ignore it when they first hear it. Because they don't actually know what to do. You get me? Did they personally have a meeting with God? No. So they actually don't know what to do. Okay, until God awakens their mind, there is such a thing called spiritual awakening. It's just not all the weird stuff you see on YouTube. Please don't listen to those human beings who talk about third eye and all that stuff. That's demonic stuff. And they're trying to get you possessed. Don't do the stuff they're telling you to do. And don't, because really, some of them are so evil that they even say things like, I have familiar spirits, or I have spirit guides. Those are demons. See the word spirit? Oh, I don't even care if they use the word angel. We're human beings. We don't have a guide, okay? We don't have something that physically is living and guiding us. That's creepy, okay? We're on this journey on our own. God gave us wisdom using our gut, right? He sends us wisdom. He gave us a conscience that always knows right from wrong. And we just naturally have a mind that is rational and likes to think and question and is curious. And that's how we protect ourselves, by questioning. What did you just say to me? That's how we can weed out the lies, right? All these humans repress that part of themselves and then they go crazy. Their life becomes weird. But anyways, I just want you to remember, just like a lot of you right now, that the rest, usually the majority of the human race is like you. In the sense that they don't like what their religions are saying. It doesn't make sense to them and it's evil to them. But that doesn't mean they're going to go out there, right, and actually do something, because they don't know what to do. You get me? Especially when they're being told that if they ever create their own sort of thinking or group, oh, you're actually creating a false religion. You get me? It's so scary. They don't have to think they're creating a false religion. They can just think they're getting rid of the bad parts of the religion and they're following the religion, but they're just not following the weird stuff. They can think like that. They're obviously still in the religion, but I told you there's just too much fear instilled in them by demons. A crazy demonically possessed preacher can't just make you feel that much fear because he's human, right? He's flesh. He can't really affect your mind. The demons, God gave them permission and the power to whisper to us. Like imagine a human standing next to you and then getting really close to your ears and talking, left and right ear. And they're actually talking to you non-stop. Okay, it's like that. That's how demons are. They're physically living. They're with us. They're constantly talking to us. It just, since we can't actually see the whisper, it turns into a voice or a thought, in the sense that you heard something but you didn't hear a voice with it, and it goes where? To your mind. Okay, and that's when people say they get thoughts. So what I'm saying is, that is able to, because it's a specific spiritual power they have, right? They're not just talking. They actually also have some sort of power to create, right, energy where they have they send bad energy to you. They can't create energy, only God can create, but they just send their bad energy to you. They project it to you because basically they just carry bad energy. You get me? They don't have to do something where God gave them powers, spiritual powers, to actually send bad sort of attacks or energies to us, like a witchcraft. No, just the simple presence of a demon is bad energy. They carry so much disgusting energy because it's a mixture of all the emotions you can imagine: hatred, envy, jealousy, anger. They have a lot of bad emotions. All that stuff is energy. Emotion is energy. So all that together, or even just one, doesn't matter, it creates this dark energy. That's how when you're around some people, you feel uncomfortable, you feel yucky, you feel sick. If you interacted with them or had a conversation, right, you feel drained. That's a human with evil spirits, okay? It doesn't always mean they're possessed, but, right, it's just someone with a bad character. You don't want to be around that. Unless, right, we're human beings, we want to be merciful. You want to try to advise them to change and be a good person, you can do that. That's your choice. But I just mean, don't like mix with them. Don't choose them as a friend, right? People have bad character. Don't ever be their friend or marry them unless you're crazy in the head. I consider you crazy if you do that. That's literally what it means to be crazy. But, right, as God would want you to do, obviously don't abandon them, right, into the sense of the darkness that's attacking them. Advise them. Tell them what's wrong with them and tell them, hey, you can change. You need to change. You get me? Just do that good thing that God would teach you to do, to call them away from that bad character. But then that's it. You don't actually have a relationship with them, is what I'm saying. Okay, so if they change, it's up to you if you want them in your life, but you have to make sure it's sincere. Okay, anyways, back to what I was saying. I kind of went into so many things. My feet hurt so much because I'm walking back and forth in these heels. Not actual high heels, but like boots. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's easier for me to record when I'm walking back and forth like this. And I'm basically hurting my feet this way. So I'm going to make this really end. It's like 46 minutes now. Basically, the human race, right? They've always had that problem where, except the truly, smart ones or really spiritually strong ones, or whoever, right, God gave wisdom, they're all sadly gonna fall to the traps of the devil, okay? Just like their forefathers did. It's not like their forefathers lacked something. They were human too. But they fell to the traps of demonic spirits because they didn't learn from the ones prior to them. And they didn't learn from the scripture that was there. Like, what about the ones, right, who were the actual first group, right? Who do they learn from? The book, right? The first book God ever sent down. God obviously would advise them and be like, hey, this is what the devil does. I'm sorry, God wouldn't say, hey, this is what the devil does. Sorry. Oh, I'm getting really tired. God, right, obviously advised them on what the devils, God obviously advised them on what tactics the devils do, right? Devils, as in plural, right, for all of them, or the devil, Satan himself. And Satan is just another word for devil anyway. The actual name he has, if you want to know that Islam, has, is Iblis. So, anyways, God obviously advised and taught the first humans the tactics that will come obviously to attack them. But humans are usually distracted with worldly things, and they don't really pay attention to the spiritual part of themselves or part of their life or their existence. And that is literally the most important thing, because that will affect what type of, material or physical world they'll actually have. Because that will affect how governments function, the rules, the laws, the restrictions, the type of humans in the world, right? How many amount of evil or good humans are in the world. That will affect the sort of way that they treat each other as, men and women and children and old and adult and ethnicities and races and those who have money, those who are poor. All the rules on how that entire different groups, right, would treat each other or treat others, right, or treat themselves would come from the spiritual things that demons did, right, which is the spiritual sort of systems that demons instilled in the human race or their world, which is just lies and evil and immorality, which just means evil. But immorality seems like a stronger or better word because of how it kind of usually makes you remember the higher evils like perversion and sexism. You don't really think of the lower levels of evil, do you, when you hear the word immorality? Right? You just think of really high level things. So anyways, all those things, how you see it and what, they get treated as and how everyone gets treated as, obviously all comes from what beliefs humans have about the spiritual, right? Even if they think they're not following that, right? Today, some people might be like, excuse me, I make rules in government based on this mentality. Others would be like, no, I think women should be treated like this because blah, 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 blah. Or like biology or whatever. They'll get on your nerves, because they're ignorant. They don't remember the original rules, the original mentalities, the original things they're operating on, where it actually came from, right? It came from the spiritual side being corrupted. So it's not that technically they're sometimes even lying. It's that they don't even know how their mentalities and beliefs even came to be, because they don't physically see a demon calling them to these lies. He just attacks their mind. right? Right? Demons are male and female. These annoying things just attack their mind. Tell them all these lies. And whoever wants to take that obviously takes it. Obviously, they don't believe in it. Evil humans are conscious, logical species. They know right from wrong. So don't actually be like, oh, so the perverted, the sexist, the crazy, the racist actually believes in that stuff. No, they don't. That's what, are you crazy? They're human beings. They know right from wrong. No religious scripture has to come down, okay? That is just a guidance. It just gives you that confirmation. But we know right from wrong. Another way we know is how it makes us feel. When you subjugate a female, especially in a marriage to a male, as if he's some sort of god, okay, how does it make you feel to watch? That makes you uncomfortable as hell. And you start to visualize your own daughter, and you're like, hell no, is he gonna treat my daughter like that? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. We don't need the religious to always be there. It's just a guidance. Because sort of like the basics of morality, right? How we should treat one another, we are all created and built with that. Okay? We have a conscience that always tells us right from wrong. That's why God, when he's allowing Satan to corrupt his scriptures, he's not like in his mind as a God thinking he just took away our only way to even be human, because he didn't. We have a conscience. We have a logical mind. We have hearts that are created first with love. And anytime someone operates from a place of hate, they feel guilty, okay? So God even uses how you feel, you get me, to remind you of what's right and what's wrong. That's what guilt is for. That's what shame is for. You know, a lot of the human beings who wear baggy clothes, especially dark colors, you want to be careful here because some people really like that color. But really, I'm talking about the ones who look creepy, like, they don't take care of their body. I mean, no offense to people who are large in size, but obviously that's not a healthy thing. That just somehow came to be because they just chose to not care for their body. No, that actually comes from immorality. That comes from evil entering their system. Because demons actually target every aspect of the human being: his health, his physical, his mental health, his spiritual health, right? And since the spiritual is the most important because it, gives everyone their rights, gender rights, human rights, etc., rights based on your age, like when you're a child, right? How God protects you from the older ones, you know how God protects those who are sort of like managing certain systems, not humans, right, but systems in society, right, like a government, right? The rights and the responsibilities and the way everyone's supposed to treat each other, right, and themselves, the way you treat yourself as well, right? There's things you can do to yourself too that's bad, right? Like smoking. You could be like, I'm not affecting anybody if I go into my room and smoke because I'm not in a physical space, right? Like putting all that smoke in people's face. Okay, but you're hurting yourself. Okay, and God doesn't want that. So basically, those humans, I'm talking about a specific group of humans who are sort of big in size, who are fat or whatever you want to call them. It's actually because they carry a lot of sin. Usually pornography, they have that perversion. They hide in their rooms all day. They're watching that filthy stuff, twisting their brain, twisting the way they see the opposite gender, their own gender. Because the thing about porn is, as you can see, I'm getting into a lot of topics because I'm trying to give you an overall wisdom on many things. The thing about porn and things like that, where you would personally never say it's normal or okay to watch a man and a woman who are married or whatever, romantic, actually being sexual with each other, you would say that's evil and disgusting. And if someone tried to do that to you, you'd call the police. Okay, but why did the devil corrupt many of you to actually think it's okay to watch that just because they're on a video? You see what I mean? So that's what I mean by human conscience. You know it's wrong, but the devil twists things in a way that he can actually push you to some of these things based on your level of morality, okay? It depends on the level you're in, because a lot of you could look at that filthy stuff, but maybe you can't do something else, right? A lot of you could be violent, but maybe you can't do something else. It depends. Everyone is twisted at a certain point, and some are really righteous and they don't have that problem. And because they don't have that problem, guess what the devil does to them? The people who are righteous and don't do any of these, high level sins. They're human, they might sin, but it's going to be something tiny. It's not going to be perversion and all that stuff. Okay, he'll harass their life to death, okay? He'll persecute them in some way. Again, with God's permission, because God has to give permission to sort of persecute humans, you know what I mean? Because that's something usually he reserves for prophets to go through, sadly. I feel sorry for my beautiful prophets. So anyway, as well as any great leaders in human history, maybe they also were persecuted, but usually it was sort of like if you're a spiritual leader, but at some point, God has given, Satan permission to persecute just regular humans, but who are like really great spiritual leaders because they became or they are highly moral. Okay. Right? I like to separate moral from highly moral because I have to do something, right, to separate someone like a prophet from a regular, healthy, moral person, right? So I call them highly moral. I mean, that's what they are, but just so you also know what I'm talking about as well. So those humans, right, who wear saggy clothes, I don't mean like humans who call themselves African Americans, who like have that, evil habit they learned from, sagging their pants. I'm talking about humans who wear sort of baggy or large clothes, right? They usually sort of, I mean, they can be any age, but, you know, even if they're tall, their body starts to look short and round. You get me? Because of all the sin and all the things they do, their beauty just fades away. Because when you commit sin, it actually affects the physical appearance of your body. You start to look really ugly, okay? I don't care if they do surgery and weird stuff and makeup to make you think something else, but really look at them, okay? Some of them are, you're gonna see they're not obviously beautiful. You know what I mean? Like that innate beauty that God created with them at the beginning, okay? They could just look okay, but let's not get into that topic because a lot of you will be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've seen some pretty people who are evil. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to get into that. It's too confusing now. But, right? Usually the humans who are in perversion, right? Who are watching all this filthy porn, who are choosing to go down homosexuality and all that stuff, they physically start to change. Their body gets really ugly and weird because all that sin. So, and again, it affects some more than others, okay? I don't know why that is, right? Some won't look necessarily like the others, but I'm talking about if you look closely. Humans usually just look at the exterior of the body. I mean, look really right at them, okay? You're gonna see they're really creepy and ugly. Okay, anyways, right? Large clothes, really wide hoodie, wide pants. I really don't like how the Caucasians, who are the Europeans who are in this country, the United States, I hate the fact that they don't ever want to identify their ethnicity. I mean, they think it's weird, right? If another ethnicity didn't want to say who they are, like the French. Imagine every time you call the French, they cuss you out and say, "Excuse me, I'm white." You'd be like, "You're dumb." You'd say, "That's who you are. I didn't insult you." Why don't Caucasians call themselves Caucasian? Why do they use the word American? Because they like to hide. Because they're the ones who did the current slavery. Obviously, humans did slavery before them. But they're the ones, right, who did the most recent slavery to Africans. Um, and the ones who got stuck in this country called themselves African Americans. Some obviously went back to their lands and escaped and did what they got to do. Those are the strong people. You escape, obviously. But anyways, they don't want to obviously use their ethnicity name, Caucasian, because then it gets attached to all the crimes they've done to Africans. So they don't like that. So they want to hide it with a name they came from a man who was actually called America. So, you get me? Because of that, we just have that problem. I forgot what I was talking about. I basically put a pause on my recording before I finished what I was saying because there's a lot of noise around me because I usually go to this park when I record. Okay, anyways, I'll find a better location soon. I apologize. But basically, these humans, right? Saggy clothes, big clothes, they're right. They look older than their age. You ask them how old they are, they might be like, I'm 20, and they look 30. You know, um, those are the humans who are hiding their character or their sin. So it starts to affect the way they dress. Yeah, that's what I was trying to basically make a point of. You're like, what was the point this whole time you were trying to make? I was trying to make the point that when demons attack a human and corrupt him, obviously he chose to go down that path. When they finally, destroy that human and he actually chooses the evil side, they're not just affecting the spiritual part of him, like his character, good or bad. They affect every aspect of him, his physical or her physical beauty, the way they dress. They don't care how they look. Because I really can't stand human beings who don't care how they dress or how they look. It's your body, okay? When you take care of it, you wouldn't say you brush your teeth because of other people. You wouldn't say you're a coward and you're giving power to human beings because you look good for them. Therefore, you're not going to brush your teeth. Okay, so why does clothing get attached to how others see you? And whoever wants to look good, they accuse them of wanting others' attention. How dare you? It's that same devil that always accused people. It's that same devil, right, who used evil humans to always accuse people, especially women, of wanting attention, the bad type of attention. Because, right, they're actually good people in morality, and he likes to accuse them of being perverted who want that sort of filthy attention, like where they objectify their own body and want bad attention from the weirdos in society. Okay, so that's just what devils do. When they see a good quality, they accuse you of an immoral or immorality that's the opposite of your character, and that's the opposite of the good that you're instilling in yourself when you do that good behavior, right? The opposite, you take care of how you dress, you care about your health, your beauty, your good looks. God loves that. Okay, very rational, intelligent person, right? Because you can't make that decision if you're not on a rational side more. And you obviously have self-care, you care about yourself, you love yourself. Okay, they'll accuse you of being the opposite type of human, the ones who don't care about their body, those who objectify their body. So they're not going to accuse you of some other bad quality. They're going to accuse you of the opposite type of human beings than you, which is the most insulting thing because they're so opposite than you versus just different than you a little bit. You're highly better than them or moral than them in that specific area that they're deficient in you're excellent. Because obviously you could be moral in a certain way, but immoral in another way, right? You could have a good quality, maybe taking care of your body, but you could be a liar. You know what I mean? So, yeah, as I was saying, when you see human beings who are, again, not out of poverty and not out of situations like, right, they're just going through suffering or they're sick or, especially now in today's time where there's a lot of homeless, obviously you have to be logical when I say something to you. I don't, obviously that's not what it means. I'm talking about humans who are just choosing to not care about how they dress and how they look, their body. You get me? And instantly when I said the word look, how they look, I'm sure evil thought came to you from the devil saying, how they look? Are they supposed to show off to people or care what people think of them? I'm sure you had that thought come to your mind. And I know because it just came to my mind, So I just know what devils would say to someone when we say certain words because I learned their psychology. That's from the devil, okay? That's how he tries to even push you from caring about your own appearance for your own self, for your own sake. By lying to you where he connects that good quality, which actually comes from being moral, that comes to that good quality, he connects it or attaches it to an evil opposite of it, you know? Evil is just the opposite of good. Liar, what's the opposite? Truthful, right? Okay, so he connects it to the opposite of that good part of you, the one that obviously I'm telling you, right? If you're a healthy person, you care about how you look, your body, your clothes, the way you carry yourself. Okay, that's a good thing. That's what moral will teach you to do, or the good side will teach you to do. The opposite of that, right? Evil will tell you not to care about that stuff because it doesn't want self-care. It doesn't want self-love. It doesn't want smartness and righteousness in the way you carry yourself. Right? Doesn't mean you're a righteous person. I mean, that's someone who's complete in many areas, then they're called righteous. I mean righteous in that specific area that I'm talking about, how you care about your body, okay? So they're going to call it the opposite. They're going to call it those humans who objectify their body, who want bad attention, who are weird, who care what others think of them and need their validation, which is not a good thing. They'll accuse you of something so that then you get scared of that thought, what it's saying to you. You get scared of what that thought is accusing you of, and you actually start to believe in it. Oh my God, if I actually look good and dress well and take care of myself and I smell good, am I actually like creepy? Like acting like a slut or a prostitute or a weird person or a perverted human. Disgusting. As if those humans are obviously humans who look good. Goodness have mercy. Those are the creepy weirdos in society, right? Who objectify their body. Okay, so, right? So that then you actually stop taking care of yourself. You see, they have to tell you when you do something good that you're doing it out of this bad reason, or this is the bad reason that caused this type of behavior you're doing. Hey, do you know the origin of your behavior is actually due to this? If you look good, you're that type of, bad person who tries to sort of like tempt the opposite gender that's not blood related or family related to you, tries to tempt the ones that normally would be attracted to you, and the other ones you're just harassing them, you're harassing the same gender, etc. They accuse you of that stuff. So then you actually believe in it and don't take care of yourself. So that's why I'm saying the spiritual side of the human is so important, because just look, every part of you every day is just thoughts. Do you agree? You're always getting thoughts. Either you agree with them or you don't. And that's what kind of creates the type of character you have. So the spiritual as well as intrusive thoughts from demons really is the core or the center point of human existence. Because they attack everyone, but they can't attack everyone with the same thoughts due to the level of moral character you have, right? A righteous person is not going to get perverted thoughts. You get me? Because he's pure in that area. Okay, but if he is sort of um, weaker in another area that's not technically highly immoral, right? Just he would, and I use the word he a lot. It's just the English language. Sometimes it's like a poetic way that I speak. I obviously mean, human. I don't mean male. The human being, right? If he's sort of weaker in another area, maybe goodness, I need to stop saying he. Maybe if the human gets sort of very angry and might say horrible things to God, if they go through difficulty, why that's an area we would say they're sort of weaker in, right? That they need to work on. Well, okay, that's what the thoughts for this human will be focused on. You get me? It'll just torture him with those thoughts. God is evil. You're gonna go to hell. You're never gonna get out of the situation. Blah blah blah. Like this. For the healthy human, it's always thoughts of doom and depression that they usually fight with. While humans who are really toxic in their hearts, which means morality, they're gonna have more of just bad, filthy behaviors and mentalities and characters and thinkings and lifestyles and weird humans. That's really where they're gonna be deficient, and that's what they're mixed with. That's where they're weak. So yeah, as I was originally saying, Muslims, their religious preachers act like the prophet. They act like they can just dictate what is truly intact in the religion, what is not. And they never use logic. They never use anything that you could say is like healthy evidence. They just simply say that's what they believe. They just simply say the book is not corrupted. They just simply say the religion just has bad stuff entered into it, but they act like they've already rejected that stuff, which comes from the man-made books that is called hadith, or hadith in English, I guess. They act like they've already done that they've already said, yeah, that stuff is bad, because they obviously have said some of that stuff is bad, but they reserve some. They reserve the sexist ones, the immoral ones, the perverted ones, basically anything against the human female. They reserve it. they keep that stuff and they take it and they put it into the religion. If it's something else that seems illogical or weird or totally against what a pure God would tell you, then they're like, that's not part of our religion. That human, he was actually a liar who narrated it. But they'll use history now. They'll use logic now. They'll use morality that God has now. Oh, but when it comes to women's rights, I'm sorry, this man, what he said is true. And it's crazy, right? Because today, if a human being wrote a book and they died, no one would ever say, let's use their book. We know people obviously would lie about them. We know their book is not ever authentic unless they're physically here to tell us that that's what they said, correct? We don't accuse people of anything if they're dead. But they like to accuse prophets. They like to accuse our prophet, Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. They like to accuse him of all the stuff they say about him, That's evil and disgusting and weird. Not even a general man would ever do. How dare you accuse a noble man of God of that stuff? Which obviously would literally affect the entire human race, because those things will then affect everybody. You get me? It's dumb. Like, if you and I can't do it, how can the prophet do it? How dare you? Okay? That's why I'm saying the world is going crazy right now, because God is going to reveal the truth very soon. The spiritual that needs to be resolved. Because things are just getting way out of hand. Obviously, evil has been taking over the earth. It has already destroyed Muslim women's rights. For, hundreds of years so far, but we don't actually know that. Technically, when I look at history, we don't really know that. I mean, there's just certain sort of kingdoms, right? I mean, empires, sorry, that obviously started to enforce a little bit of this false stuff, into how a Muslim woman, her rights are from God. But usually the past Muslim empires actually did not follow these hadiths, these man-made books. They didn't follow this weird versions of, or religious scripture. They didn't do that. Things were okay. It's really kind of recent that these books started to take power, control, because that's what humans did. You get me? The good, moral, righteous Muslims of the past, obviously some evil humans that Satan was using wrote these books, right? Okay, but what did those people do? They said, Satan, shaitan, we call him, which means devil, they threw it out. They don't care. Today you agree anyone can write a book, right? Okay, so they just threw it out like that. That doesn't affect them because they're good people, okay? They're smart people. They're educated people. Past Muslims, their women were the ones building the universities. Like they were always at the center point of knowledge and education. They were scholars, okay? These women know what to do. You don't mess with them. But today they don't have that quality. These women are beaten down right from the day they're born. And that's the thing. That's how you destroy a generation. You go after them when they're children. You go after them when they're born. You instill that, I almost spoke my language. You instill that weird stuff into them right when they're born, which is why females always don't want to study math and science, because of just the way they just project to you, even without speaking to you. There's a lot of traumas that humans develop, sometimes from their own parents and ancestors, that just is there because those humans were treated like that, or they were made to be subjected to that, or to believe that, those lies. So sometimes as human beings, we're actually born with sort of like, I don't mean actual trauma, I mean like sort of like repressions in terms of trauma. Like you just sort of have this sort of unhealthy belief, but then you actually start to hear it from others around you, like the family, like the parents, because they were told that, and sadly they accepted that. So women, right, obviously, even if they live in a even if they live in a country that's more sort of advanced in terms of like certain areas that they have a little bit of equality and stuff, they never have full equality. They always attack the most important areas like abortion and rape and stuff. Like they always attack the actual essential areas that humans should never even have to argue over. If they're gonna act like they're a rational species, they should never be fighting over this area, because it's just filth. It's just evil. You're just taking away humans' rights. You're just torturing them. What is there to fight and argue about? She has the right to abortion. It's her body, and rape is filthy. Kill the bastard, and give her the healing and the abortion if it's needed that she needs. It's just common sense, You put a needle in the animal's, back. You obviously take the needle out. You give him the healing he needs. But they don't want to treat the raped male or female like that, because those are the areas Satan has to keep. Okay, they're the highest evil. He will not let you ever get rid of that stuff. You get rid of it for a couple of, years or whatever. You create good laws. Boom, he'll come up with some crazy humans who take it away from you. You get me? He will just never leave you alone. The devil is just obsessed with women's rights, because technically this really is an important gender to sort of, right? Again, both genders are important, but they have a really important and essential role, because they're technically the ones who are choosing, right? They obviously choose each other, right? But since they get pursued a lot, they're the ones who choose their husbands, right? She's the one being pursued. She really gets to decide what type of bloodline comes out of her. Do you get what I'm saying? What type of man she chooses to be sexual with. Because evil males will come after her and good men will come after her. Of course, men get chased by crazy women. Evil females and, right? Okay, good females. But what I'm saying is, right, like if you actually observe, right, there's a certain power that she gets to have in that situation, because a lot of males, even if they're sometimes good males, right, they sometimes pick a horrible wife, because they just don't really judge females when it comes to morality. They don't really care much about her character, because society didn't instill that in him. So it's not a gender thing. That's disgusting. That means you're insulting God of creating men dumb or deficient in that way. I'm talking about how humans choose to operate, not how they're created, okay? So a lot of males today, they're just always, you get me, sometimes just choosing a female that is not as healthy as them. Okay, and the female does the same thing. So there's really nothing that males do that females don't do. And there's nothing that females do that males don't do. I'm just saying, if we observe, can bring more morality into the world if we educate our women to honor themselves and know what their God-given rights are. Why? Because then they choose the bloodline. You marry him, you're the one who's going to have the kids, not him. Okay, now, technically, you spend more time with the kids, even if you're still following your God-given rights to be a human. Obviously, a mother doesn't mean you're some sort of machine that raises kids and it limits you. No, children is both of them who are supposed to raise it. It's not her job to raise kids. Both are supposed to raise them together. And other people are supposed to help out. Society is supposed to help out so that they don't lose their right to live their own life and enjoy themselves too. They're not supposed to be with the kids all day. Goodness. Take them to school. Let other people, join in. Because they're human beings. The kids require too much time and energy. But what does society do? They made her feel so righteous if she stays with them all day. Okay, and now she feels guilt coming over her from society and that evil demon in her mind if she kind of is balanced with how much time she gives them and gives time to herself too. That's it. That evil guilt coming over them is from the demon. He won't even let them be human. I mean, do you lose your identity as a human being or as a woman just because you have kids? Aren't you always that individual you were when you were young, when you were a little girl? How can you lose that just because you gave birth to something? That doesn't make sense. You're always who you are, who your individual identity is. You have your own dreams and goals and things you need to do, right? Children are a blessing. You raise them together. But they push it on her because the devil wants to take all her time away into staying home so that he can take a lot of the evil males. He corrupts the males really fast. And now they take away all her rights because she's not out there working alongside with him in society, in government, in universities, in colleges, in high schools, in the business sector. She's not with him. Men and women were created to work on this earth together. It belongs to both of them. No gender can have it better than the other. Okay? Okay, so they're always supposed to be in the same sectors together. They don't have to be doing the same exact jobs, but they're always supposed to work together in that place. Okay, so what does that mean? Right? That would depend on what the person wants to do. If she wants to do that heavy labor, okay, go ahead. That's her choice. Obviously, every human being, they have the right to do whatever job they want. Are you going to tell someone he can't do a job? Because maybe technically it's harder for them on their body. Are you crazy? That's their choice if they want to lift it. Okay? But anyways, they're always supposed to work together. This earth, literally, two genders are here. How can one gender do everything and the other stays home? Are you crazy? Okay, that's the sexism that the devil wants. Because as long as women are not out there working alongside men, then, okay, the devil can use this one gender to turn them arrogant, right? The evil ones in them. And now take away the rights of this person. Do you agree if you have a teammate in a class and they go to do the presentation before you, they didn't let you know, right? Do you agree they're going to take center stage and take all the attention? Okay, right? There's that sort of toxicity that if they're not a good person, which is the majority of the human race, they're evil and toxic. You agree that majority of the human race is toxic and shallow, and they're going to obviously act like they did this whole project by themselves. That's what the males are doing who are evil, okay, which is the majority of the human race. I'm sorry, the majority of the male gender. They're going to just, you get me, take all the credit for all the things men and women did together. They're going to take everything away from her and push the sort of, weaker things to her, like raising kids, instead of the sort of grand, great things, which is making this earth, making this world a big, powerful, wonderful place, that they don't want that sort of really cool type of role for her. Because arrogance. Why did the devil disobey God? Arrogance. He was arrogant. So he projects a lot of arrogance to the male gender. You get me? Not because they're male. I don't ever want you to think it's because of the way they look or their body. No. It just will happen if the devil just wants to do that. There are areas he might make females arrogant, right, against the male. It doesn't matter what he does. He could have done it complete other way. The devil could have literally put males down throughout the human history. He could have used females. He really could have done it if he wanted to. You get me? He just chose this way. Don't think this is the only way it could have been. He could have turned it the other way around. So since we need both genders to do everything together, manage the earth together, every place you go, therefore, so that there will be fairness and equality, because a gender cannot 100% give you your rights if they're not your gender. I'm sorry about that noise. They can't do that. You get me? Because they're not you. They can't care about you that much. So we need both genders to always be at the table discussing how to operate every aspect of human life so that there's fairness. You get me? Humans have to hold each other accountable. You don't believe employees should just be at the back burner when employers make management makes decisions, right? You don't believe a teacher could always be fair and just, because obviously he's human. Only God would have that quality. And it doesn't even matter if humans had the ability to always be fair and just. That obviously has nothing to do with them controlling others, right? Because that act is just evil. You're not dominant. Acting dominant is evil, right? We're equal beings. We're supposed to treat each other with respect. Everyone has their own gifts and talents. Okay, we let them flourish. But what I'm saying is the devil wants that. He wants to push one gender off. And okay, it's easier, right? That he can use kids on her. Because, exactly, right? Someone has to raise them, obviously. He pushes it to her. And now he can really use the males to become perverted, harass all the females outside that she's not even aware. He's harassing and targeting. That's another reason why he wants the male to always go outside and work and never really spend time with the family, because then he can use him to be the rapist. He can use him to the one that harasses you as a manager or coworker at a job. He's harassing all those young females. You get me? He's harassing the younger ones who don't know how to deal with him yet. The older one knows how to deal with him. That's why they target the younger females. But then the devil will lie and insult you and act like somehow they're attracted to that, as if good and evil can mix, as if harming others is connected to something like their age or some goodness, have mercy. Woo! Or just desire or attraction. They're just perverted, period. And the weaker ones to them are the younger ones. Common sense, basic. But unless you're thinking, you're not gonna get what I'm saying. They target young males too. You get me? But they hide it. They don't know. You don't know they're touching them. A lot of them are called down low in, American terms, which means males who are homosexuals, but they have girlfriends and, I'm not girlfriends, it's in plural. They have a girlfriend or wife. You get me? Everyone outside thinks they're normal, healthy, heterosexual. But they're friends, exactly. Since it's really easy to hide homosexuality because it's the same gender and the same gender is usually your friend, it's easy for them to hide it because God doesn't show a physical sign on their private parts or what they did to them. You get me? You're not gonna always see a physical sign. You just need to pay attention to your gut. You need to obviously observe and see their relationships with the males they hang around with, and pray to God you never marry these types of filthy human beings, because they want that. They want to use your body, touch your body, get the benefit of you, who's a healthy, beautiful person, and then go do their perversion behind the scene, because they're under the control of demonic spirits. See, then it will make sense to you, right? Why they desire to hurt you so much. You're thinking, why do you have to do that? What did I do to you? Not that obviously, right? You have to do something to people for them to want to hurt you. Because if someone actually did something to you, then they would want to punish you, not do evil to you. Goodness, that's the evil human. I'm just saying, right? Evil humans might want to do evil to others, right? If evil was done to them. So you're thinking, what's going on here, right? Because they're under the control of demonic spirits. When you take the spirituality aspect of things, you're never going to understand why these human beings do what they do. Never. So I went into a lot of topics because I really want to give you a general overview of logic and rationale. How easy it is if you just think. It connects to everything in human existence. And please be careful of those males and females. Not males and females, those males or females, whichever is your opposite gender, who try to, have a romantic relationship with you, but they're actually homosexuals. They do weird stuff. Or they do incest or other weird stuff, okay? They're all over the place. I see it every day. These perverted males who are married every day. It just, the amount of rage I feel, you can't imagine. I wish I could just go tell that female, but they're just random people walking in the street, What are you going to do? So, and that's literally what it means to be a pervert. I don't want you to be specific and think homosexual is something specific than the usual male pervert in past human history. No, it's him. It's just now they like to give him sort of specific names like homosexual. But pervert is just pervert. It means They like to have someone of the opposite gender. They like to actually have a relationship because it benefits them, right? They like to use this person for money, for status, to look good, to have kids so they can molest and rape those kids, to control those kids, to use those kids for anything you could ever think kids could be used to benefit themselves in an evil way, okay? It's just for evil purpose. Another reason is the devil wants males to breed. That's why he likes to push them to this obsession with children, right? Females, have you noticed, they don't care about having kids, but it's males who are obsessed with it because it's a demonic thing. It's actually from demonic. Humans are healthy and basic and natural. They will love kids at a healthy level. But for these males to always be obsessed with kids and sometimes even push a female to have, I would say, more than 3, is just horrible. That body should not have to do that many kids. But that's her choice. As long as she's not forcing herself. If she actually wants that many kids, that's her choice. But what I'm saying is, I don't think any female God creates would ever want that many kids. I don't think any male, if he had to go through that, he would want to be put in that situation. Okay, so it's really the unhealthy side of the human that comes over them, which is always from the demonic, trying to always use the female in that way. Trying to always just I don't know how to explain, I don't know how to finish the sentence. They just want to put her through as many ways of suffering as they can, even if it's natural, like God obviously created pregnancy. Still, they just want to push her to it more. You get me? Obviously, we're human. We get hungry, right? God made us that way. Are you going to say, if we push people to be hungry, we're healthy? That's dumb, okay? So what I'm saying is, just because something is normal doesn't mean you can overuse it and still say it's healthy. No, there are things, if you use it too much, you're hurting the person. And a balanced amount is required in order for it to be okay. So females need to stop having so many children. And that is the way demons push you out of society, make you not go out there and actually do something about this world, because that's why we have so much injustice. One gender is controlling everything. Hello, common sense. If we had one race controlling the human race, you know obviously they take everything for themselves and leave everyone behind. Okay, so what makes you think one gender constantly making the rules and females, especially Muslims, not going into government? What do you think is going to happen to your rights? Okay, I don't have to finish that sentence. So demons like to push females to children. I'm talking about the unhealthy way, where they just distract her from her own self, her own life, her contribution to the society, her contribution to, religion, by becoming scholars and learning and protecting their rights, because they need to use the male to go outside where there's no females observing him, and now he can be the pervert he wants to be. He can be whatever homosexual he wants to be behind the scene. He can harass the little girls who are not married and not having, kids to, distract them like you at home or whatever, because you're not being balanced and, raising them with the male, as well as asking others to babysit for you sometimes so you can live your life. Okay. They're going to harass the females who are not having kids and who are not married. That's why they're obsessed with young females, because they're the ones who are out there in society. They don't care how old she is. It's just that seems to be the female they see. The young girl coming out of college and starting her job at this corporate. The young girl who's getting out of this religious school. The young girl who's walking in the street with her backpack. Of course they're going to target her. Not because she's female, but because she's just human. Get it? She's just whatever is in the environment. They'll target her because you're at home. You, the wife, they would be scared of. They don't know. You don't know what they're doing. Right? And many of you, obviously, you're submissive to them and they control you and they tell you what to do. You're a puppet to these filthy males. So these evil males, obviously, the devil needs them to be outside, being unmonitored and unseen by the other gender. That would keep them in check when it comes to morality, because humans have to keep each other in check in morality. They have to constantly protect their gender rights from the other one, right? The evil ones in that other gender. But if you're always at home because you believed in that weird sexist dumb stuff, because they made you feel so great and so powerful by glorifying something that actually technically makes you weak, I said technically because if you're actually at a healthy balance level, then you're just a parent, which is a good thing. The unhealthy way, right, where you let this dominate your life and you're nothing else but just staying at home, raising all these kids and hurting your stomach every day, instead of having kids at a healthy level and breeding too much into this earth, which creates all these evil humans because the basic 3 out of 5 humans become evil. So every time humans have kids, they're actually increasing evil humans into the world because they don't become good people. But they also just overcrowding this earth. I'm sick and tired of it. So anyways, no one respects what God taught human beings. Well, he taught them to not be obsessed with kids and to not be obsessed with things that don't help them and don't benefit them, and to always be balanced with every good thing he created, right? Such as marriage and kids. Always be balanced and do it the moral way, but you don't want to do it the moral way. You want sexist males to operate every aspect of what they say about male gender as if they're God, and know their sort of psychology like God himself. When we know, obviously, too, we can see them and observe them. They're liars. They're just promoting sexism and perversion. Because that's it. You're not out there. You're not becoming scholars. You don't know anything. You're not learning. You're not studying. They pushed you down since you were a child. They pushed you away from math and science, projecting weird stuff to you. Okay, same way. Even though, right, those other males are calling you to the universities, right, when you're a young female and saying you can pursue these careers, you don't want to because their healthiness doesn't matter because these toxic ones really got you. Same way these sexist perverted males will ruin every other aspect of your life, such as when you become an employee and you're this beautiful young female. They're going to harass you, obviously, because they want you to leave that job. They want you to feel like you're not someone that can ever operate in this world as if it belongs to their gender, especially the evil ones. Obviously, we have righteous men, great men like prophets. No, them, the evil ones. You get me? It's just that sort of persecution that evil humans would do to a prophet. They want to make him leave their country, their land. They just harass him. They don't let him feel safe or welcome. Okay, a race, the evil ones in it could do that to another race. Okay, a group of kids could do that to other kids, bullying him. Okay, the evil ones in the male gender can do that to the female gender. It's just common sense. It's just evil. But evil has now become a gender. Like they use the term gender. They use the term nature. They use the term sexual instead of perversion, something abnormal and against sexuality, right? Attacking sexuality. These terminologies are being used, to promote evil because the right terminology is not being used, which is what these evil males are doing every day. They're evil, they're perverted, they're sexist, they're disgusting, and they're obsessed with the young females because they're the ones who yet have not been pushed down by them, right? They haven't gotten married. They haven't been destroyed by these males. They haven't married these filthy weirdos. These are right young girls. I'm not talking about the righteous, intelligent women. They can't bother them, but I'm talking about just the average female, right? She'll at least, right? She's not really, you get me? She's just average. Righteous people are rare. They're gonna harass her to death because they don't want her to feel like she's a human being. They want her to feel like she's what they project her to be. Exactly, something they're just chasing and running after like an object. They don't want her to see herself like a human being that they can actually talk to and interact with like just a person. They'll always say something like, oh, I can't see you as a person because you're female. I'm always thinking of them. Excuse me? And they always act like that's not how they're attracted to every female God created. That's not possible. Some females are your siblings. Some females are righteous or great women you can never think of sexually because they're greater than you, they're better than you. You can never think of them in your mind as a regular male. God only reserved them for righteous men to see them that way. So you, the average filthy male, the toxic one, can only see the female just like you, the toxic one. You just like to harass the ones who are better than you a little bit, who are normal. Those are the females you like to torture. But they're the level right next to you. They're not really that great or whatever. They're just right next to you. You like to torture them with these lies. Because the demons are possessing these males to say these things to females. So that these females actually start to believe that's how this gender is designed. That's how this gender sees them or feels about them. It's to make you believe in stuff. Just like how the thoughts try to make you believe in stuff. So that now you walk towards what they say and become that type of person yourself. That type of gender they projected you to be. They just want you to be what they say. Males can't have this type of plan. Every generation of the human race, they can't keep having males that come out to be this horrible way. You get me? And that's actually what the devil will say. He'll say, well, because every century different males are created, they're always coming up to be like this, a lot of them. Well, that's their nature. You see, he'll insult you like that. As if humans in every century some didn't come out to be thieves and murderers. Are you going to say that's their nature? Okay, so he likes to act like this is not evil, right? Sexism, perversion. He likes to act like it's exactly the word nature. That's the word he'll use. So these males are coming out like that every century. You're right. Even though they don't know each other, they can't teach each other. I mean, yes, they can teach the one right next to them. But technically, right? Because demons are teaching them. There is a common denominator that is actually always there with all of them that can make sure every male actually interacts with them, and they can try to twist whoever they can. Okay? That's how they become the same sexist, unhealthy way that they're obsessed with women and their rights, and they're always limiting them. And you can just feel it. A lot of the males in this world are just obsessed with women. They cannot handle women just being like them, having the same rights as them, having the wealth and the power they have. You know, there's just this hatred that doesn't make sense. Because we're the same species. What is this hatred? What's going on here? Is this some dog that you think you're superior than sitting next to you? It's demonic, okay? Their hatred is greater than a human whose evil could ever be. So, this kind of went on too long. But I'll end it here. Hope that gave you wisdom on many things. I wasn't being too specific sometimes because I don't need to be. I'm trying to give you general wisdom. But remember to use what I said at the beginning of my podcast, where I look up a lot and I remember God, because he'll remind you of who you are, such as your gender, your race. When the world is constantly lying to you and telling you evil about you, limiting you, controlling you, repressing you, acting like they're not equal to you and they're superior than you. Oh, and it's God's fault. He told us this. All that weird stuff. You'll forget it. Look up. Look at that beautiful sky. A God who can create something that beautiful does not talk and think that disgusting evil way that hurts your heart. Just like he would never have made that evil family you could have been born to like me, he can never say they're okay. He hates that. Okay? He hates all these evil males torturing my gender, torturing children, torturing the young men. Usually they like to go after the young men because they still haven't become evil or good yet. They're still young. They like to corrupt as many as they can. And they do turn many of them into homosexual, but they just don't express that in a verbal way. You know, they can just touch each other. You agree? You're not going to know. And then these males just sometimes might even just stop and then just marry a female. It's disgusting. And I want you males and females to really check these people who want to marry you. Usually the persistence and the reason they're pursuing you and maybe you're not interested in them is because they're evil. Because if someone is actually compatible with you in a way that, right, if God would actually want you to marry them, you're going to equally be interested in them too, okay? So when one party is sort of obsessive over you or pursuing you a lot, don't let the devil trick you into thinking that's, right, a sort of nature of the male who pursues or the female that sometimes pursues, right? Just a human thing. No. You know, I told you to be careful with the thoughts coming to your mind. You just accidentally agreeing with them. Be smart. You know, your gut will tell you there's going to be a lot of red flags, especially today. I would actually advise a lot of you to hold off marriage and wait for God to tell you. You should have done that either way, whether we live in a wonderful world or not. But especially today, stop being obsessed with marriage. Because we have a lot of homosexuals, okay? We have a lot of human beings who are just perverted, who are doing incest or other things, and you're not gonna know. They'll come to you in these clothes and in these personas and just trying to be like, pretend to be a normal person. It's disgusting. And I don't want you to think they're just doing that because they're evil. No, demons want to use them to breed with you and bring children to this world who are demonically possessed. There's a lot of bad things that happen to you and your body and your children if you have sex with humans who are perverted. Do you understand me? Because they're demonically possessed also, not just because they're filthy and perverted, but also because they're possessed. And that's why they're perverted. Meaning, because they became perverted, they got possessed. You get me? Okay, so, goodness. You're having sex with a perverted human being. You just think it's just a bad character. What does that have to do with me? Oh, you're crazy. There's spiritual laws in this world. Do you understand me? A lot of your children, I guarantee you, there's a heavy percentage they'll get possessed just from birth, period. It's possible. Or something will happen. I don't know what they do, these demons. I'm still trying to understand it. They possess children. Early age. Early. The kid hasn't done anything yet to become evil. Okay, something is off. But again, it doesn't affect the kid in a way that you'd be like, oh, that's unfair of God to do. No. If the kid chooses to be moral, the demon will have to be taken out of him. You get me? God will do what he needs to do. But I've just seen a lot of children who are just coming out of these evil families, you know? And okay, at a young age, they're already possessed. But how come there's a common denominator? Again, they can be born to other males who just might have other types of bad qualities, but I don't believe any human being can actually be toxic and not be perverted. You get me? Just like you can't say a human is a bad person and he's never a liar. Like, impossible. Lying has to be one of the qualities that made him bad. So perversion has to be there. Okay? It just may not be at a higher level, but he has to always be perverted. Okay? So, okay, it's going to affect your children. It's going to affect the demons that target your children. What will happen is you'll develop these sort of familiar, or, you know, like in Christianity, they call them familiar spirits. But you'll develop these demons that actually start following your bloodline. They need to make your son, your daughter now, into the same filthy pervert that you married. Okay? Whether it's this female or this male, depending on the gender you are. Okay, so, you see what I'm saying? You're bringing those demons into your life. You're letting a perverted human touch your body and be sexual with you, where they have demonic spirits in their body, right? Goodness. You don't want that happening. You don't want those filthy spirits touching you. So understand me, God is giving you a lot of warning. Don't be like, I didn't know. Yes, you did. God always gives you red flags. He always makes you see and feel scared and uncomfortable to death. You're just not paying attention. Okay? I'm really angry with human beings like you who don't judge the people they marry, the people they have sex with. You need to stop. Okay? You don't live in a perfect world. So, and evil humans, what does it mean to be perverted? They're obsessed with the human body, right? Okay, so obviously they're the ones who are mostly going to be the ones being sexual in the world today. Because they're obsessed with that stuff. They're obsessed with touching people out of perversion, okay? So for that reason, they have to constantly seek sexual behavior with people. Okay, so they're actually going to be the ones you see the most. When you're trying to look for a partner, they'll always be in your face. Because demons are sending them. Because those demons want to touch you. Okay? It's not this male. Right? He'd probably choose perverted females like himself. It's the demons who want them to go to the good female. It's the demons who want this filthy female, this disgusting female, to go to the good men. Okay? So you have to protect yourself when it comes to the sort of sexual part of your life, because that's the area that demons really target the most and is the easiest way to cause demonic possession, because you're sharing your body with this person. Spirits and everything and spiritual stuff, all that stuff gets connected. Okay, God is just. He's not going to let you get possessed, obviously, right? If you don't deserve to get possessed, you're not evil and stuff, but stuff will happen to you. Do you understand me? Bad things will happen to you. And that's what they want. And over time, they want to get to a point where they can possess you too. So please, in a world today where there's all this evil and perversion and immorality, even though technically it was always like that, stop being obsessed with marriage. Stop questioning God and being like, why am I not married? I'm sorry, but he doesn't probably have anyone for you to marry right now. There's just so many evil humans in this world, okay? God cannot send you someone if there's no one. If everyone's evil, okay? So sometimes think that's actually the reason that God is not sending you a spouse, okay? And you might be like, but I'm a good person. I wouldn't obviously marry those filthy humans. My spouse would obviously be good. Where is they? I get it. Some of you are just regular people. You're not great, righteous people. So obviously your spouse is going to be exactly one of the ones who today became perverted. It's going to be those crazy ones who are walking around parading naked, who are, talking about homosexuality and stuff. I'm sorry. Some of you, that's your spouse. The devil took away your destiny by turning them into evil. Now you don't get to get married in this lifetime. While you're still good and moral, they're not. They failed the test, okay? While the truly righteous people you would say are similar to or close to a prophet, not like a prophet, I mean like, right, God loves them, right, almost close to a prophet because they're highly righteous. Okay, those people, obviously they're going to marry people who are highly righteous like them. They're not going to have a problem with marriage. It's just God may design that they don't ever get married in this lifetime by not even wanting them to get married. Therefore, by not even sending them their spouse, or maybe not even creating their spouse. Because usually they need to be leaders, male or female, and they have to be alone. Okay? Or he'll test them for a certain time with loneliness, and then they'll meet them later on, because they're not this weak, lowly versions of the humans today who got corrupted by the devil into being obsessed with sex and kids the way God doesn't want you to. You know, you're weak. So God can make them wait until their 30s to get married. You get me? Because they're not going to be obsessed with kids and weird stuff. They honor each other. They respect. They have all the qualities that you wish your husband wanted, or your husband that you wish he had, or your wife she had. But especially the female, all the qualities you wish your lowly, sexist, covert husband has. The qualities you wish he had, these righteous men who are marrying these righteous women, that's the qualities they have. They actually love this woman. They could care less about kids. You get me? They actually love each other. Kids is just extra. It's just an option. They don't care. Okay. So the righteousness is in them, where they have the ability to value another human being, and they're not sort of weak and carnal and can't really love and attach, where then they're obsessed with kids as a way to just feel great and boast to society. Because we know humans like to have kids for that reason, right? They feel like there's so social rejection if they don't have kids. They're not having kids because they love kids. They're not having kids because it's a blessing, because they want to raise. No. They want to have kids the same way they want to get a job, same way they want to buy an iPhone. You get me? Not the good reasons to get a job, like to work hard, but because it makes them look cool. Okay? Just like humans every day are looking for dating and all that and marriage, just to not exactly to show off and say, look, I also have a partner. Because they see all these people boasting about it, especially on social media, a spouse. Spouse has become some sort of accessory. You know, having someone in your life has become something that makes you feel great about yourself, like you brag about it, instead of a loving companion that's there for you in this life. Okay, so for that reason, that unhealthy way of seeing a spouse or partner, okay, the kids are the same too. They see them in an unhealthy way just to use them for fame and attention. So you're all doomed. Okay, those weird qualities, the righteous people of God don't have it. Therefore, they're not sexist in the way to the female, and the females are not sexist to themselves in the way that they see kids as their identity, right? They probably don't even like kids. It's a choice. Just like God gave women the choice and men the choice to be parents, and gave the woman choice to have kids. It's not something you have to do. It's not something you should make someone do, otherwise you divorce them. Excuse me? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. A lot of you cannot get married. So there's 1,000 reasons why it's just not possible. So stop letting the devil rush you into people you don't want, into people where you have to lower your standards to be with them. Stop it. Okay, learn to control your sexual desires by not burning it. You get me? If you burn something, obviously it's not going to stop until you put water on it. So you guys don't have sexual desire, obviously. You're normal. But you're putting the flames on it by constantly watching other people and being jealous, or you're looking at porn, or you're doing all these sins. You're masturbating or whatever. You're just turning something on that should be turned off. You get me? This flame. You're a human being. Okay? You have great qualities. You can go out there and live a great life. You have many qualities. The sexual is just one quality. Don't let it be your entire identity. I talk a lot about this part of you a lot because it is how you get demonically possessed. I can't ignore that if I love you and I want the best for you. Okay? I want the best for all of you. You have to be spiritual, conscious of the world you live in. Observe people. Look right into their eyes. Try to see through human beings, how they feel and think. Actually really do things like that. There's a lot of evil humans around you, okay? They're everywhere. And they carry evil. They carry demonic spirits. A lot of them are molesting and raping children. If you ever go online and read testimonies of people who were raped or molested as children, you'll see that those filthy humans who violated them not only were always family, but no one even knows about it. 20, 30 years down the road, that human never told anyone. Okay, so a lot of you right now, your spouses, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters are raping and molesting your children. So teach your children no one should touch their private parts. You get me? As long as you teach them what perversion is, and that no one should touch their private parts as well as their body overall. Obviously, it could be another area. The same way you, the adult, know what perversion is, right? And rape and stuff. Okay, now you're not scared to leave your kids with others, right? Obviously, you don't know they're evil, right? But you're not scared because you taught your children to not allow that stuff. I'm sorry, not allow that stuff. You taught your children what that stuff is and how to deal with it. Only the filthy children would allow it who are already perverted. I'm saying you're not gonna, at least you're not gonna have children who are like, um, you know, obviously God created different types of children. 3, I would say. Ones you cannot touch, you cannot rape them, molest them, they'll kill you because they're righteous. 2, the ones who are just moral, right? They would obviously fight you. Okay, and then the ones who are weak, the ones who do ultimately become victims. These ones divide into 2 categories: ones who choose to fight and ones who may not choose to fight. Okay, so they usually choose not to fight. These are the ones that all of you usually give birth to. I'm sorry. Okay, so you have to teach them. You see what I mean? See what I mean by teaching them? Because they're usually going to pick to be raped and molested. They're not going to fight. They're not going to resist. They're not going to do anything you would expect them to do. They're just going to allow it to happen. And then they'll never tell you. They're not even going to at least put a stop to it after that incident. They're just going to literally get raped and molested for 20, 30, not 20, sorry, 7, 10 years or whatever, until their teenage years. And then later on, they'll come up with mental illness problems, mental health problems, weird drug addictions and weird behaviors, and then boom, they're homosexual all of a sudden. You get me? Stop it. Teach your children about perversion and how to protect themselves from those they know and those they don't know. Now you don't have to worry about it if accidentally those predators target your children, even if it's your husband targeting them or your wife or your brother, etc., or your sister, okay? Take care of yourself.